Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, bringing you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis, and welcome to the After School Special, where we get together with folks that we can't quite meet them during lunchtime. So you know what? We come back and meet them after school. So I think this is the first After School Special I've had being officially moved into the state of Florida.
Oh, so you're officially finally finished?
Well, I'm here. All the boxes say otherwise, and I'm not totally unpacked yet.
Does your wall change color with temperature, or is that like a mood light behind you?
That is a it RGB does strip. It moves RGB. It's actually two floodlights. Oh gosh, comics division turned me onto it. So it's like two like floodlights, but they're like LED, not LED, but yeah, they're LED floodlights. Of course, they're stuck on red now. I don't know why.
I didn't know we were being such romantic for Chris today.
I don't know.
I was expecting
I'm an engineer. You know I don't read the instructions.
Yeah, I could definitely see the engineering right now. I can see it perfectly. I can see it so well. It's like I know how to press buttons.
Stuck on red right now. I don't flipping get it.
So you're now official Florida resident. You still can't get LED to work, and we have a nice personality showing up. I didn't put two and two together until I went back to the Attack of the Show episodes I used to watch. And he was like, usually that one segment where he did the DVDs and recommending movies. And I was like, oh my God, it's the same guy. So I spent a little bit of a rabbit holing earlier before he got here.
You know what, dude? I was like the same way when I found out that Chris did Attack of the Show. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I used to watch G4 like crazy back in the day.
Yeah, I liked especially Attack of the Show a lot more than X-Play. X-Play had its moments, but it was more on the skits and trying to be kind of slapstick humor over the actual pretense that it was supposed to be a video game show, or maybe I misunderstood that. When they did coverage for like CES 2, it was great. But yeah,
cool.
Well, it's a bug you all show, isn't it? You're still trying to get the lights. You're literally like,
this is what happens when engineers don't read directions, and we got it to work. We're like, we got it to work before. We don't have to read the directions.
Well, thanks to Chris, I actually have to switch my avatar with it because now I actually have to watch this film because he says this has the perfect opening. I'm going to ask him later about that.
Oh, awesome. Well, let's not hold our guest any longer because I know he's a busy man. Welcome to the show, Chris Gore. How are you?
Hey, Lorena, what's happening? And Fat Steven, thanks for the kind words before I came on. I appreciate that.
You deserve it. Like usually you were the one segment I paid attention to when it was G4. Like you were giving it was not like just an unbiased opinion, but you gave kind of like a spin on the movies to give a chance to, and then you saved me from a lot of burning my eye sockets.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
Oh,
awesome.
and I am loving that shirt. Please tell me that shirt is for sale.
Yeah, you can get it at the Film Threat shop. Just go to shop.filmthreat.com. Yeah, this actually ties into when I was on Attack of the Show. One of the things that I insisted upon is I got to wear my own T-shirts because I had done a TV show before where they tried to like make me hip and cool. This was for IFC, and I kind of just didn't feel comfortable. And I was like, I just want to wear clothes that I feel comfortable in. So I got to wear I would wear like shirts for bands that I liked. I wore a T-shirt for a shop called the Comic Outpost. Gary Beekler's shop from Neurotic. I wore that.
Wow.
I wore Film Threat T-shirts, and I wore a shirt once. I remember I got in a fight with the Standards and Practices person. I wore a shirt that said on Valentine's Day, by the way, it said, "I heart your vagina." And they said I couldn't wear the shirt that said vagina. I said, vagina is a medical term. It's said every day on daytime TV. There's no reason I can't wear a T-shirt that says heart your vagina on Valentine's Day. How's everybody doing in the chat? I'm sure
we are gonna get to the chat really quick, but usually we like to bring up the guests to not make them think we have them stuck in the back, and we'll bring out here when whenever. But yeah, folks are like, yeah, we want to see who the guest is, so we like to bring them out before we welcome the chat. Oh, sure.
I did want to say one thing though. I just finished it, or halfway through. I can't remember, but your interview you did with the director for Nobody, I love that film. And the fact that there was a lot more knowledge I got from he actually trained for 4 years.
Yeah.
To do all his own stunts.
Bob Odenkirk trained for 2 years. And the funny thing about that interview, I did it. He was on the set in Russia or Serbia or something, filming a movie. And then he was in his car on his phone. It's the director of a really amazing indie movie called Hardcore Henry. You should check out.
I've seen that movie in theater and as well as on DVD.
Oh, wow.
It was the first person. It was the first person one. So it was kind of like doing from the video game perspective, as he said, it was for his 15-year-old self. Yes, I do remember that interview because he couldn't get the sound working on the first time. I had to reconnect back into the interview room. Yeah.
Weird things happen. I don't know. You know what? Almost no one watches my channel, the Film Threat channel. It's mostly just interviews with directors, and then one of our other editors, Alan Ing, he does reviews on it, and then we run trailers for really obscure indie movies you've never heard of. So occasionally something blows up, but you know, I don't know. Maybe I can learn. You could teach me about YouTube because I'm still.
We could definitely give you pointers. Let's see. So let's go through who all the people here are in the chat. And so glad you guys are here. 27 of you guys here with us with our special guest director and indie movie champion, Chris Gore. We have Grumpy Old Ninja Kentaro. I'm not going to pronounce that last part because I know I'm going to screw it up. Hashtag Mediano Mafia. Yes. Thank you so much, all of you everyone who's a member, but especially Mediano Mafia members. You guys have much fun watching my videos, especially blooper videos and stuff. So thank you so very much for how you support my channel. We have Zach7, another channel member who says early. Yes, you guys were here early. And I love it when they decide to cut the grass outside my darn condo when I'm live streaming. Oh, you can't? Okay, maybe it's just
open your window more, please, so I can actually hear it. Thank you.
Oh, they're trying to get it done before it starts storming like crazy here. Let's see. We have Snortopoopas Q Burr. Hello. Who says hello, humans and other critters. So good to see you here, Snortopoopas, as always. And of course, there's CJ. That's okay, dude. I retweeted it today, so it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. And we have Dadman Walking 55, another channel member, says, howdy, Lorena Creole. Howdy to you too. Glad you're here. Glad you're listening. Got to get on the road again. Have fun. We sure as heck will. And we have Zachariah315 who says, howdy, chat. Well, hello to you too. Glad you're here. And let's see who else is. Oh, of course, there's Memes of Destruction. Says, hey guys, what's going on?
Funny story. We were doing the Babylon 5 review yesterday for some episodes of season 2, and the man decided to start eating pizza shirtless. while discussing Babylon 5, and that is the most funniest yet awkwardest thing I've ever seen this week.
Wow.
Pepperoni nipples and pepperoni pizza. No more.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. All right. You know my mind goes places. Hey, Sam McCabe says, "Hey, Lorena Creole and chat. Hope you're all well. Wave koala. Yes, doing great, doing great. So glad so many of you here with us. Sam McCabe, one of the brothers from down under. So good to see you." And Donnie Pearson says, "Hello, Lorena, Fat Steve, and all. Hope everyone is well this evening or this afternoon in my case. Hello, Chris, and welcome."
Thanks, Donnie.
Very good. And let's see. Awesome One says, "Hello, directors." Let's see. We have. Hello, Null White. How are you? Says Chris. Love your film courage videos.
Thank you. Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. And let's see. Jordan Chornak says 2124 G4 is woke trash. I stopped watching G4 a couple of years ago.
I have nothing to do with it. I think they're just sort of like getting started on YouTube, kind of just like testing the waters. I actually have no idea what it's going to be. I am making a documentary about the decade from 2002 to 2012 when it ended. So it should be interesting. But yeah, yes, Monkey Jeebus, I'm on.
Chris is on.
So
Chris is on.
They were graphic in some of those skits, like the one where you got shot in the head and they had that blood splatter perfectly against the wall. I'm like,
yeah.
I can't believe this was actually on.
Wow, you went down a rabbit hole. Yeah, no, it's weird. Like looking at like the old G4 and looking at the footage. I have like we've been working on this doc for a while, and one of the things, we have a folder that's just like, you can't do that now, and it's just like tons of sketches and things that were done back in the day that I'm looking at going like, oh wow, like this show, if the old Attack of the Show was on today, it would be canceled every day.
Oh yeah,
something. So
oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Commander Ed Strack of Shadow says, "Lorena Creole, hello, beautiful, and hello, Fat Steve-O and Chris."
Wait, I'm not beautiful. I beg to differ.
Yeah, well, you know, I think he meant it in his head.
How dare you?
But folks, thank you so much. There's like 20 of you guys in here watching. Chris Gore is our guest. And yeah, I ran into Chris for like, 2 minutes on a Midnight Set stream one time. And I was like, man, I'm really pissed that I'm here late because you had so much cool stuff to like talk about. So I'm so glad that you could come on the show. So we always start out with the baseline question. What are your memories of lunchtime at school?
Oh wow. One was my mom insisted that I always eat healthy. So like a real crazy snack for me would be something like Fig Newtons.
That was healthy.
Oh wow. It was.
Yeah, that was considered. Fig Newtons was like, that was the most, exotic thing that I would get in my lunch was
wow.
So and then my name being on my lunch bag, and I just remember it being like pretty like having that envy of looking at everyone else's lunch when they would get like the Hostess fruit pies or Twinkies, and I would not get those. So what can I say?
Did you ever get the pudding pack and by accident some of your lunch got crushed and it was pudding all everywhere?
It was very rare that we would get like a cool snack like that, but whatever, I think my mom had my best interest at heart, but that's what I do remember. Strange. I have never been asked that question. Been asked a lot of strange questions, but that one's never.
It's weirder.
Yeah, it does. So if you cool. Yeah, I love it. This is the one where Fat Steven's like, can I get a win on this one? What kind of pizza did you have in school? Square or round?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think we had both. I remember like in elementary school, it was like squares. And by the time we got to junior high school, it was like the round that would be cut into pieces. I remember it tasted terrible. It might have been, my memory of it is it's the worst pizza I ever ate. I just remember the cheese was so coagulated. It just was disgusting. Don't miss it at all.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like the good grease from the pizza joint down the street. It was, ugh, just yeah, like eating cardboard. Yeah, yeah.
No
So
good.
yeah, yay squares.
Definitely
Yeah,
a square.
square pizzas winning like crazy right now. Hey, Kaylee D, good to see you. Good to see you. I got reprimanded for eating my hot dog with pudding.
Oh wow, memes of destruction is serious.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That's a
I'm just
whole
hoping.
nother level.
I hope he's wearing a shirt. That's all I care about.
Who? Oh, totally another level. So, yeah, so Chris Gore is our guest, 25 of you watching. And I know I had like a pin in it to say, hey, I want to bring Chris on the show because I knew you'd been a director, but I did not know, for some
Oh
reason
no.
it didn't hit me, that you run Attack of the Show. So I was looking at your site, Film Threat, which is really
Oh no.
cool.
When did
Really cool.
this bounding into comics? That just I've
And-
never. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I've never been on it, so
Oh, you never on their show? I mean, on their
I'm familiar with their website. Yeah.
yeah, but you haven't been featured on their website.
No,
before.
no, I don't. I try to keep very low key. I mean, I would consider myself more of a filmmaker than director in the sense that like I produce and write, and it's kind of like whatever. Like filmmaker, is just sort of a good, blanket thing. But yeah, I did those Film Courage interviews, and they just kind of blew up just because I think I was stating the obvious on a lot of things. Now that we've seen the Star Wars sequel trilogy in its entirety, what a colossal failure it was. I was actually held out hope. I actually, and I'm sure that this is, in certain circles, they would not be happy if I said I actually liked The Last Jedi because I thought it was going somewhere. There are parts of The Last Jedi, obviously, that are completely a waste, but
Right.
what I really liked was like, okay, I feel like I think I know where this is going. And I even made like this video where I'm like, I think I figured out how it's going to end and it's going to be awesome. And then Rise of Skywalker was one of the most terrible things. I mean, it's the worst Star Wars movie, just of all of them, and just completely trying to retcon so many things and change and kind of fix. I guess they thought they were fixing what Rian Johnson was trying to do. It clearly shows that if you've got no, if you don't have a plan from the beginning, that's not a good idea, right? And even like people like, I know John Boyega has been very vocal about his character, which didn't. I mean, he never gets to the thing that he's yelling at Rey about. He just keeps saying Rey, Rey. Thank you, Rogue Disney. Keep saying Rey, Rey in Rise of Skywalker. He wants to tell her, hey, I'm feeling force powers, but they don't ever demonstrate it. So John Boyega, his character got screwed. It's, to me, the most interesting character. We've never seen a stormtrooper, different kind of stormtrooper, not a clone, someone clutched from their family and forced to be, to work for the First Order. And
Right.
it would have been really interesting. He would have been a hero amongst the people who were thinking in a similar way. Like, I don't know if I really like this job with the First Order. Thinking this kind of sucks. Might want to like lay down my weapons like this brave person did. And his character was totally screwed. So, yeah.
It felt like, I know for me, it was a bait and switch because I was being led to believe you have, of all people, a stormtrooper, force sensitive stormtrooper, had never been done before.
Yeah.
So it's like already hooked. So it's like, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And they completely dropped the ball on it. Didn't explain why they dropped the ball on it either. And it just felt like he was just there as like window dressing. And they couldn't follow through with that. And that was one of the biggest missed opportunities that they had with that. Besides getting the whole gang back together, like Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know and I think I talk about this in the video. Like, how do you, as someone, you're in charge of it, you're the executive, creative producer, whatever, you get the story group together and you say to yourself, okay, we're going to make a new Star Wars movie. By the way, we're just going to kill off all the legacy characters one by one in meaningless ways, in
Mhm.
meaningless deaths. I did a follow-up video where I compared the death of Spock from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan to the death of Han Solo, in Force Awakens, and there's no comparison. It's done with such disrespect. I feel like
None.
it's terrible. Fat Steven, I feel like they should bring me on Attack of the Show, bring on all the old people from Attack of the Show and just kill them off one by one in really stupid ways when G4 relaunches. I'm happy to come back as long as they kill
you hold the gun.
Way.
But the thing is, I agree with you because I actually watched one of your videos and it makes a lot of sense. The one thing that struck with me the most is they turned Han Solo literally into Emperor Palpatine from Return of the Jedi with the way his death was done.
Yes,
crossed into a chasm. When you said that, it made perfect freaking sense. And then you went more into detail of how when we lose someone from, like, let's say a trilogy or a series where we've been attached to that character and it ends up in a death, not only do the characters in that film or that franchise mourn the death, they denied the respect of certain characters, and that I didn't see at first. And then when I actually heard you saying it, I was agreeing with it. I'm like, they took it and they didn't even give it the proper respect of a death of a friend, a death of an ally, a death of a husband. They didn't do any of that. They made him look like a deadbeat dad who just got kicked off the cliff. Let's go to Denny's, and it was bad. And then they slapped Chewbacca in the face at the same time.
Yeah, it was just such disrespect. That's why when you compare it to the death of Spock, where Kirk, his lifelong friend, who stood up for Spock and was, just his, I mean, as close as you could be without, well, I mean, I think that's where a lot of gay fanfic came from, was pretty much Kirk and Spock homoerotic fanfic was launched because they were so close. But in any case, that was fanfic. That was sort of the first when I became aware of what fanfic was. Back in the 70s, 80s, like, oh wow, there's people are really into this. This is strange. But in any case, I'm derailing. My apologies. That's nearly every conversation with me is going to be like that.
No, that's okay, because that's something. It's like a recurring theme, kind of like of what we talk about. Because Monkey Jeebus put this up, and just like my head exploded. They're getting rid of legacy sabers at Disneyland and Disney World. Are you serious?
I'm going to guess that has something to do with some legal thing that, like, when George Lucas sold Star Wars, he still got a piece of everything that was old. That's why there was such a sort of all the legacy things, that's why there was such a push with, J.J. Abrams and whatnot to kind of just replace everything with the Disney version of that. And it's really disheartening. So,
Rogue Disney, I'm going to have to swoop in there and we'll go to the Galactic Outpost, because I don't have a annual pass yet at Disney World, and see if they had them over there. But holy crap.
I think one of my most favorite things from like some of the interviews you were doing was when you were going into about the splinters of the mind's eye, talking about how books are great. Books are like thin pieces of the internet on wood, and I started dying laughing there.
Oh yeah,
paper tablets, they exist. Why is no game? It's great.
But Splinter of the Mind's Eye was supposed to be the low budget independent sequel to Star Wars. If the movie bombed, George wanted to keep the rights to it and there's old interviews with him. You'll find him talking about this. There's a really good documentary called The People versus George Lucas, where he does this interview, and it looks like it's for like a small cable station. And George Lucas talks about that, like, he's a toy maker. He basically created Star Wars to sell toys. At least he's honest about it. But yeah, like, he wanted to continue doing Star Wars even if 20th Century Fox didn't want to make sequels. He would have done it. Although he did bankroll the movies after that. I mean, he put all of his finances on the line to make The Empire Strikes Back. So thank you for looking at my website. Yeah, it's
no problem. I wanted to ask you about this, because I hadn't, or maybe I'm just behind the 8 ball on this.
Okay.
A site that just has a guide to independent movies, because I noticed what I've been doing of late is looking more at like the indie films. I've run into more indie films that I like say that drop on like Netflix or Hulu or something, than I do the movies in the theaters.
Yeah.
So what got you started with Film Threat?
Oh my God. Well, it's a long story. In fact, there's a documentary being made about it. But I grew up in Detroit, right outside of Detroit, Michigan, a small town called Royal Oak. And I didn't realize it at the time, but was raised by a single mother and is pretty poor, right? Like, but I didn't notice that. I feel like when you're loved as a child, money is not the most important thing, right?
Oh.
Right.
There are plenty of kids come from wealthy families who were never loved and were deprived of an upbringing. I had a great upbringing in spite of normal family chaos, but didn't realize till I got to high school, like, oh wow, we don't have a lot of money. I think I have like 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants, but it didn't matter to me, right? Like, it was just like, whatever. And John Hughes movies came out at the time, and I really despised the John Hughes movies. I couldn't relate to any of those characters. The only one I liked was Ferris Bueller, because that guy just liked to fuck with people. So I related to that.
That is my favorite John Hughes movie, actually.
Yeah, it's my favorite one. But the other ones, I just couldn't connect with it. And then I began seeing my mother was always very like, don't go to the mall theater to see those movies. Go to the art house. Go to the Detroit Institute of Arts. Go to the Maple Theater, which was an art house theater. And I began to see movies by Steven Soderbergh, John Sayles, Spike Lee, Jim Jarmusch at the time. And there was this explosion in the late 80s of these indie movies. And that's really was the inspiration for Film Threat. And also, I just love those movies. I feel like there's an honesty about them that you don't get, because it's this, single-minded vision creator with a vision, unfettered by marketing or this or committee. Like when you look at modern filmmaking today, it's just factory filmmaking. It has to get signed off, and all these has to check a lot of boxes for it to be corporate approved, right?
Yeah.
There's one.
Yeah, didn't sorry, Steven, just want to ask you a question. Didn't who was it who coined that phrase? Corporate
factory filmmaking. I think
factory
that was factory filmmaking. That was Francis Ford Coppola, actually. I think.
Okay.
The first time I heard that, but
okay, I can totally picture that coming from him, and just the type of films that he would make. But that's a perfect way to put it, because now it's like it seems the marketing hypes the movie up so much, to the point that if you do go and see the actual movie, it's just like, this is not what I was expecting to get.
Well, yeah, it's so funny because the people who do the marketing and the posters and key art and whatnot, they're almost doing a better job than the people making the movies, right? They're selling a product where they know what they want it to be, and then it's misrepresented, which leads to a lot of audiences being dissatisfied. But my website is sort of like, it was a fanzine in the 80s, a print magazine in the 90s, and in the late 90s we launched a website. So the Film Threat website has been around, I believe, since 1996, and it's gone through various incarnations because the internet has changed quite a bit. There's like a lot of legacy content on there that you can find going way back. But we cover indie movies. If you're a filmmaker and you want your movie reviewed, you can just send it to us and we will feature it the same way we would give Black Widow got a review on Film Threat. You'll be right up there with like this film that we have featured on our front page today, which we intend to cause havoc. And we review a lot of movies that are woke, But see, what I like about those movies is they're not trying to reach a broad audience, right? They're trying to reach a small audience that the message will appeal to. And I've always tried to make Film Threat politically agnostic, where we cover movies from the left, we cover movies from the right. We have writers who write for us who are very woke, feminist, and we have writers that are Christian conservatives. So I don't know why other media outlets have so much difficulty trying to be what I consider to be true diversity and inclusion, which is many voices, including voices I don't always agree with, but I respect other people's opinions. And I don't understand where we've come to this point where we're vilifying people with such language. It's horrific to me. And I this is like nothing I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that it's not being called out, my politics are very middle of the road, but I'm not going to vilify people because we have these, divergent opinions, and then you vilify and make them an enemy. I don't agree with that. And that's why with Film Threat, I've done my best to like, hey, we're going to cover it all, and from all types of voices. So the voices, it's a true truly diverse group, because real diversity includes diverse opinions. And I feel too many media outlets these days try to come from one end only and then spend. I think a lot of it is that there's a lot of clicks and rage bait and whatnot. Like if you go up to the top, you scroll back up to the top of our homepage, and then you just click next, you'll see like about 15. Like if you click, it's right there.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And then you'll click and you'll see like we cover like short films, horror films, exploitation movies, documentaries. Like that's like a small indie short film that came to us. You know, we cover everything. So
I have 3 questions for you, Chris, if you don't mind me.
Please, yeah.
All right. The first question is, if I came up with an independent film of me crying in the dark while eating cheesecake, can I get a film threat review of it?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'll get working on it.
There's a button that says submit, and you can submit your movie.
Okay.
So, I mean, we don't review everything that comes to us.
Oh, wow, cool.
And we offer like marketing services for indie filmmakers, right?
Awesome.
Because these movies that we cover, for the most part, they get no love. You mention any movie website, the trades, nothing. So we're kind of like this single outlet with like 30 writers from all over the world trying to do this stuff. I got to stop with the plugs. I sound like I got to stop.
It's your passion. You sound passionate.
I'm passionate about it.
That's an idea you want to add to this. You just said the voices, right? So there's your mini documentary about your whole staff.
Well, yeah, there is a documentary that's been in the works for a long time.
Really?
It's about the rise and fall of the print magazine in the 90s, because I caused a lot of trouble back in the day. I was in the news for just doing like crazy over the top stuff. And, you know, I don't want to ruin it. There's you can probably find the trailer on YouTube somewhere. It's called Film Threat Sucks, is the working title of the documentary, and it'll be out in a couple of years or so. It probably festival circuit first, but we caused a lot of what makes me sad is I look at the state of modern media, and to just see it's almost like a media outlet has to declare a political allegiance, and I refuse to do that. I refuse. Good. Because I don't want to be put in a position where I have to like something because it's aligned with my agenda rather than it's a good movie. And I see a lot of critics today. I live in Pasadena, California, so I'm in the LA area.
I know Pasadena.
I love Pasadena.
I love it. It was so cool to see, because one of my dreams was to live in LA, and I did for about a year before I decided I need to get out, and then I was stuck for another 4 years there. But I loved visiting Pasadena. I loved it. Such a cute little place.
You were mentioning, sorry about that.
No worries.
You were mentioning the thing about not having to like a movie just because it's good, right? So this is like a two-parter. A, do you think the art of discussion has now been lost because it's now been filled with political agenda? And B, does Tomorrow War fit into the category of what you were just saying of quality over agenda?
Well, I mean, couple things. One, when the agenda comes before just a good movie, I find it disconcerting, right? So, like, meaning you like a movie just because it has political opinions that you agree with, or you like a movie because, although like my taste is just really like, I like everything from, Korean horror to, I grew up with like Toho movies, the Godzilla movies from Toho Studios. And whatnot.
Yeah,
I love those.
Did you like shit?
I didn't really care that there were almost no white people in the movie. Like, I didn't give a shit. In fact, I have no expectation that there should be, right? Like, it doesn't matter to me, right? Like, or like, just like any filmmaker, like, I feel like we want every movie to be a perfect, like Benetton ad. And I think that's not reality necessarily. I'd rather see a pure story, say, from a filmmaker like Antoine Allen, who made a beautiful film called Lola. I don't think there are any white people in the movie. It's all black actors, and it's a great small little indie movie by an Atlanta filmmaker. It's called Lola. He's actually working on the sequel.
Oh,
at the
okay.
moment. So this guy, he's going to be something. You'll be hearing about him, Antoine Allen. In any case, like, yeah, Flying Godzilla. I love that, from Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. The film with
That
that's
was
from.
pretty darn cool.
But yeah, like I like stories that come from a pure voice of an artist, right? Like, you know, where they're trying to say something, but not lead you to it, where, you know, at least get you to ask the right questions. I think messages have always been woven into entertainment. That's just a given. But do you allow me to make up my own mind, or do you tell me I'm an asshole for thinking a certain way? You know what I mean? Like, the way I always say it is, like, you know, Luke Skywalker did not cancel Darth Vader.
No.
Luke Skywalker brought him to the good side, right? By coming to him and laying his weapons down, right? Like,
Right.
there's too much of this, well, let's punch Yahtzee, you know, and I'm saying, like, maybe that's not the way to change hearts and minds, is to with violence. I don't believe that. So yeah, you know what, I'm like this. I have these very middle of the road views on it. I'm just surprised that so many that work in the realm that I work in don't feel similar. They feel they have to come on one side or the other of an issue. And I'm saying that the discussion is part of I don't learn. If I only talk to people who agree with me, I don't learn anything.
That's a yes man. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help you grow. It's not criticism. It's not constructive. All it is looking at a wet paper towel going, you're eventually going to rip. What am I going to do with you next? And it's just another yes. You want someone to be able to not only respect your opinion, either have an opposite opinion, explain why. And that's what we used to do even when it was Star Wars or Star Trek. When you were saying earlier about the whole, you know, like, make you think, that was also a Star Trek mentality, especially with TNG, TOS, and everything else. The message was there, but it was on such a subtle level of the layering that after the show was over, sometimes you wouldn't even pick it up till you rewatch the second time, or someone actually pointed out to you, and it made you think. And that was the brilliance of the way shows were when before it died in the 90s. That's where I'm going with. And we don't get that anymore. It's like, you have to look at this billboard. We have this checklist with this person who's about to have this kind of relation with this type of toaster, and we hope to God you like the bread afterwards. No one cares.
But I think it's it's almost, well, I won't say almost, it is. It's like they're not trusting their audience. And there used to be a time, and I know, Chris, you can attest to this, that you trusted the audience to make up their own mind about your particular art. You just put your art out there, and the people who appreciated it would, and the people who wouldn't, you know, they would move on to something else. And as a consumer, you want to enjoy that particular entertainment. And I believe it's kind of like, I think you hinted to something like that in the Bounding in the Comics article that they did on one of your videos. When you're a consumer, you're trying to go there to be entertained. You know, if you're dropping money, you want to be entertained. I don't want to be preached at. Someone had told me, well, it's kind of like having, and it's probably a bad example, but I'll do it anyway, like someone hammering some LGBTQ point in your head with, like, say, a film today, as opposed to the movie To Wong Fu, which was awesome. And it didn't preach to you. It was about the story, and you cared about the characters. It didn't matter what their orientation was. That didn't matter. What mattered is you were invested in the story because of the character, and at the end you were just entertained. And it seems like Hollywood has forgotten that people want to just be entertained. You don't want to be, you know, indoctrinated, or, well, at least most people, indoctrinated or preached to, you know, on our dime like that.
Well, there's ways of doing it correctly. I think that works, and the way you know it's working is if an audience, if you're preaching just to the echo chamber, and you want to make say a gay film that, but you're only going to reach an audience of gay people. I feel the whole point of entertainment, all entertainment. And I may have said, look, I got to say, for these Film Courage videos, they interviewed me for like 6 hours twice.
Oh my God.
Cutting them into these little 10-minute, 20-minute things that they've been releasing. So I don't even remember what I said, but the purpose, all entertainment for me is about empathy. The point of all entertainment is to be able to identify with someone who is not you. Maybe not your same gender, ethnicity, age, species. could be a cute, funny, furry animal in some animated film, or a tree like Groot. Like, make me identify. And those to me are the amazing filmmakers. If you can help me to be in the shoes of someone who is not me, and I feel for that person, I feel empathy, and I feel that person's journey. Like, that to me that's when you're doing it right. One of my favorite filmmakers happens to be gay. Discovered it when I was 16 years old, changed my life. It was John Waters. Love John Waters. And one of my favorite actors, Glenn Milstead, who is a drag queen named Divine. He did a series of movies with Divine that are just so much like, to me, social commentary is always best administered with humor generally. But if you look at a movie like Hairspray is phenomenal.
That's a musical legend.
It's a classic. And it's like, there's some big messages in there about racism, and but it's also so entertaining, funny as hell. The music is incredible. So it's administered in a way of like, there's a strong message here. We can look back at that era, and we can maybe see some comparisons to things happening today. But I think if you spend too much time on social media, on the internet, and you see the vitriol with which people who don't know each other speak to each other, and then I go outside and I go to my local dive bar, the 35er in Pasadena on Colorado Avenue, and everybody's nice to each other. Nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody cares. When I go outside and I see my neighbors and I walk around, and Pasadena is a real mix of all types of people. And you don't see that. And that just gives me faith in humanity, that I feel like if you put down social media for a period of time and you take a break from it, or just not spend time. I used to argue with people on social media a lot, and I'm thinking, there's no point. I don't know. And there's no nuance when it comes to social media when, people aren't actually even reading the source of what you're referencing. I feel like there's a productive conversation. Twitter is probably the worst.
It is.
Which is sad, because Twitter used to be just like a fun party. And I would
Twitter.
it was just like fun. All your crazy friends were there. No one was worried about really offending people, because you didn't freaking care. You just wanted to get out there and connect with people and say what you wanted to say, and that and that was fine. And now it's turned into this just disgusting cesspool that would probably make, I guess, Mos Eisley jealous or embarrassed. I don't know, one of the two. But it's awful now.
Yeah,
it is. I just don't engage. Use it for social, like linking, for like networking. Use it for just that. There's two things though from one or two of your interviews that I caught that not only kind of scared me to a point, but also was very, very brilliant when it came to connection with movie characters. The first one is because it kind of falls in line with the fact of the loss of Robin Williams, how we'll never get a Robin Williams back for quite a generation. That's related to that. We're never going to get a director or a creator like George Lucas ever again, that Hollywood is no longer able to take risks because they dislike risks. And that was horrifying, because it's an actual reality. We will not get someone like George Lucas in quite a long time until there's an evolution within Hollywood. And the other thing was, through the experience of a character in film, we can help heal a part of ourselves. It's what part of a story is safe. And I agree with that wholly, because that's a lot what movies are. It's that attachment you were saying earlier, whether it be a bunny, a different type of species, human or not. It's seeing the humanity within the character that's on the screen that is the protagonist. And we're not given that anymore. We're given a lecture, well, you're bad for this, you're bad for that. And we can't associate ourselves down even to the soul, or even for a minute, because they're telling us how horrifying we are. Yet we're supposed to pay money to be told how horrifying we are.
Yeah.
That's not media.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that, because any industry that involves making money is going to be data driven. So I'm surprised that they didn't look at this data, look at the diminishing returns of the Star Wars movies, or these Disney Plus series, which to me, I haven't finished any of them. I've watched the first episodes of all of them. And then, but they seem to me to be this is a weird analogy. Fat Steven, Lorena, maybe stick with me on this one. these Disney Plus series kind of feel like those prequel comics that would come out before a big movie, and they would tell you about all the inconsequential things that happened before the movie, that so nothing really big is going to happen in these Disney Plus series or even in this comic book, because we got to get right to the place where the movie starts. So they're really just sort of the uninteresting bits that happen between the movies. That's what a lot of these Disney Plus series are. And I'm sure this is, I guess this might be considered a spoiler, but spoiler alert for Black Widow. The end scene sets up a Disney Plus series in kind of a stupid way. I was so disheartened. It wasn't like continuing the legacy characters or something. Like it sets up a storyline that we now need to continue as a Disney Plus series. So disappointed with that.
I was so annoyed because for me, and yeah, people probably heard me rant about this last night. For me, Black Widow was a movie that came way too late and really didn't give me anything additional about Natasha Romanoff, except I'm just mad they haven't offered the white cat suit for sale. I'm still pissed at you, Disney, because I wanted to freaking buy that. Whatever. But yeah, they set up, a new like Disney Plus series, which basically, having Hawkeye hunted down, and I didn't care about that. I mean, I like Hawkeye, but just not like that much, and not with how Disney Plus is doing Marvel characters. Absolutely not. I literally just kind of just sucked my teeth and said, this is a waste of an Easter bonus scene at the end of a trailer. I could have just left.
Well, and what's weird is we actually already know what's going to happen, because it's a big misunderstanding.
We already know.
Wait, isn't that the new Spider-Man movie?
What's that?
Well, because the new Spider-Man movie is on the pretense that Spider-Man killed Mysterio, but it's actually a big misunderstanding because it's all a false lie made by Mysterio before. So they're using the same story again, like the serum. But the way you were describing the comic books, they set up movies. That's technically how they did the sequel trilogy. But as the story to tell what was in the comics to tell why they did the movie. So they're just doing full circle. I would say mentality, but it's not even a mentality at this point. It's like looking at Rice Krispies and going, "I would like sugar now, please. Thank you."
It's there. And this is just me. And Chris, you can let me know your opinion on this. It seems like they're doing more telling than showing. I would rather have seen Hawkeye getting hunted down. You don't know who it is. And then eventually they show you who it is. And then it makes sense. Don't tell me. And Black Widow did so much telling instead of showing you via film to bring us on that journey. It's just it just seems like the cheap way out. Look at
WandaVision, Lorena. Let's go to WandaVision. Remember back in WandaVision how everyone was excited, how much delicate detail they put into the 50s and the types of shows and all that stuff, and the amount of work a lot of people put in looking for the Easter eggs and stuff. And then it just went, it's like.
Because you had someone who didn't care about the movie. They didn't want to read the comics.
William Dafoe would have made a wicked Mephisto if they actually cared about it. I think he would have played an amazing Mephisto. William Dafoe.
Thank you to Mr. Tickle Trunk. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for the $5 Canadian super chat. You got two of them here. This is me spending money to make sure Chris knows people are absolutely gushing from him in the chat. Yes, you guys much love, Chris. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just embarrassed I didn't get a chance to bring him on a lot earlier. Mr. Tickle Trunks for another $2 Canadian. Chris needs a channel where he rants for hours. Yes, you do.
Well, the funny thing is I have a channel. I just use it as sort of the general for Film Threat. I don't, my podcast has evolved. It's over like 500 episodes now. I used to do rants on it, and I just got the sense that nobody was listening. So now I just do filmmaker interviews because I love talking to other filmers just about the industry and whatnot. It's very inside baseball stuff. But if you want to be a filmmaker and you want to pursue making movies, as I like, my day job is Film Threat, and then I like make films on the side.
Yeah.
But like, if you want to do that, Film Threat is a good source. I think Film Courage, and there's another one called Indie Film Hustle. But the thing is, and I've criticized some, I've talked to, some other YouTubers about like, hey, for every 10 videos where you talk about how Disney and Marvel are terrible. Do one video about one indie movie, maybe once a month, every other week. Like, there's so many good indie movies, small documentaries, small like indie sci-fi, indie horror films. I saw a funny one the other day called Roadhead. Look up the trailer for that. It's sort of woke, but kind of funny. It's like,
well, if it can make me laugh, I'm good.
Yeah, it's when you temper stuff that's like woke but funny. Like, I don't know if you saw that series, Hacks on HBO Max.
No,
it's based on the life of Joan Rivers, and she's this comedian who's had a lot of drama.
I love Joan Rivers. I love her.
It's based on Joan Rivers, and she gets this like they want to pair her with a writer who's like this very woke millennial that and then they just clash, and it's awesome because it's tempered with humor. It's a conversation, and they're not telling you have to think a certain way. It's there's a conversation being had. So so there you go. Thank you, Monkey Jeebus, and everyone in the chat for being kind. Maybe I should just do like a live stream once a week, but I'm not. I don't know how to even
you
like
should call it Attack of the Rant.
What's that?
Attack of the Rant.
Attack of the Rant. I could do that. I could do something once a week, but then the worst thing is I watch so many other live streams. Like, it would just cut into my live stream time of watching other people, because I usually will have live streams going like while I'm just doing. I have a lot of like monotonous like work as part of what I do for Film Threat, so I like to have podcasts and live streams on. Yes, Hacks. That was great. Now White, thank you for that comment.
I'm gonna have to check it out. But you have so many people, Chris, who love watching you that honestly, you could just do a live stream and you get people who would want to jump on there with you and just,
all right, well,
crap. I'd loved it, but
Lorena, I will dedicate it to you if I can. But like I watch at different ones. I watch like Midnight's Edge, and you're recurring on that. I've seen you on that, like among others. So yeah, exactly. You want to watch streams or make money? Like, thanks, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Yeah, this is like that's the thing is like YouTube is not like I see the YouTubers that are successful and I admire them because having just done television like for 15 years, like I think it's actually harder to do YouTube than television is like. Look, here's what you got to read on teleprompter. I was lucky that with Attack of the Show on G4, I was able to be myself on camera. Although I couldn't swear. Although, if you go back and look at clips, I used to mispronounce swear words all the time. So I could get away with swearing on live television. Yeah. I would say that someone was a shatheed. And they didn't have to bleep it. Yeah.
That is true. It's true. They wouldn't have
shatheed. That's not what's shatheed. So I got away with a lot on that show just because I kind of knew, and I used to swear in ASL, American Sign Language.
What?
I would go
Very sorry, a-hole.
I would just go like this, and not say that's bullshit. In American Sign Language, and then I would just So I do little secret messages for people if they were paying attention. And I never got called out. It was weird. Like God, I can really get away with a lot of stuff. So I really enjoyed that they let me be myself. And that's it was my best experience doing television. But YouTube is a different animal. And I see the people that are successful at it. And I go, oh, I don't know that I can do that.
You have it. You do have it. And honestly, try one rant stream or 1 5-minute rant video. Limit it to 5 minutes. Upload it and see how it hits, post on your community tab, and just go with it. And you don't have to do it every day. Do it every week and just do something. Like you want to say, you're telling everyone here they have to do the one indie film. There's your stick to start.
But yeah, yes, I could say frack on G4. Thank you, Mark D with the C. Mark D with the C. I just I don't know. I feel like it's really difficult to do it.
Yes.
R&B, by the way, R&B, he and I have been friends for since the 90s.
Really?
Yeah, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Okay. Now I have to get the two of you on my channel.
Are you a DS9 fan?
I am not.
perfect. We could have an opposite opinion and force him to watch the season.
No. Look, I respect. It's just one of those things. I haven't taken the time to watch it. Like I remember, I watched the first season. I'm like, I was banned from Paramount because I wrote an editorial in Sci-Fi Universe magazine about how awful DS9 was. And I was there. I was like banned from the set. So I started this magazine with Mark Altman back in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Sci-Fi Universe magazine. We started it, and that's how I met Rob, because Rob became kind of an editor at large, and he would write about things in Sci-Fi Universe magazine. So that's how and Sci-Fi Universe was supposed to be like Film Threat, but for science fiction and whatnot. Because I've been going to Comic-Con since like '89, San Diego.
Yeah, I read that in the article about how much you like going to the Comic-Cons, and kind of on that vein, because I know you have a limited amount of time. What's your opinion of like Marvel and a couple of the other studios pulling out of San Diego Comic-Con?
Well, one, it's about controlling the messaging, so that doesn't surprise me. You look at like some of these big trade shows and whatnot. It's expensive. What is it, like Sony just pulled out of E3, so they really want to control the messaging. I really like though what DC did with their DC fandom. That was fun. It was fun. We all experienced it at the same time. It was texting like friends of mine. We were posting about it. We were checking out the merch and the photos. I was following hashtags. I mean, it went on for like 8 hours. They actually did reveal some things. I thought it was well done. What did you both think?
We actually did it live. We had a bunch of panels. We actually did for the full 12 hours, and we did the second one as well. The main joke was, are they ever going to let Jim Lee out of that dark basement? Because every time they went to Jim Lee, he was in that dark room.
He looked like a hostage, and it was. And my whole thing was like, well, if you can't get excited about what you're working on, I'm sure all of that was pre-recorded. I mean, we tried to do something like that with one of the other things I do with Film Thread is we put on an annual awards show. So it's first of all, I think award shows are bullshit. They're all BS. It's a popularity contest, but there's one thing that award shows do really well, which is it calls attention to certain types of movies. So we started our own award show for truly independent films called Award This. So if you look up Award This 2020 or 2021, you'll see. And this year, because I was not happy with aspects of the lockdown, even though it virtually did not affect my work because I work at home anyways. But so we did our award show at a drive-in. Which was weird. I've never heard of anyone doing, but if you look up, you can just look up some of the videos on YouTube. But we did it live at a drive-in, and it's a celebration of indie movie. And if you watch it, you'll discover like we gave like best movie made during the lockdown, we have a category called WTF. We have different documentary categories because I feel that the only types of documentaries that get attention are documentaries that are socially relevant. And I like those kind of documentaries personally. I like documentaries that deal with social issues and whatnot. But I also love pop culture documentaries. I love documentaries about the industry and comic books. And
what about the Netflix series where they were going over like the toys that made us and stuff like that?
Oh, that's a great series. Yeah,
I have a question.
The movies that made us, same company. Yeah, I like the Nacelle Corporation. Is the company that does those shows. So we do this award show. It's just one of the things, just because I feel like these tools have to be there for these small indie filmmakers. And how are we going to support these up and coming indie filmmakers if they're not getting love, from Hollywood? Oh, the garbage people just showed up. Can you hear the garbage people?
Yeah.
Okay. It's perfect timing. Like Lorena, like before, the leaf blowers, they're
cutting the grass out here, and the big loud noises.
Hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, so that's just like one of the things that we do. It's in craziness right now happening. But
I had a question though. Do you enjoy Babylon 5?
Babylon 5 I've heard raves about. That's not a series I've seen. I've seen, Star Trek the original series, Star Trek the Next Generation, which I love. Battlestar Galactica, both the original and the new. But there's it's like in order for me to be pop culturally, literate in many things, I'm not able to see everything.
Okay.
So,
The serious question is though, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Venture Brothers, or C Lab 2021?
oh wow, God, I
You're
probably
1 to
go
3.
How can you? Oh,
probably Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
I love Adult Swim stuff. Like,
Me too.
so yeah, I mean that stuff is awesome. I know the Chris Prynoski's I've been friends with him for years, and he started Titmouse Animation Studios, who does a lot of stuff for Adult Swim, including Venture Brothers. So,
Did you put your eyes on the sequel to Harvey Birdman? And if you did, why? And are you okay? And secondly, please don't.
No, I have not seen that. So, yeah. I watch a lot of small indie movies nobody's ever heard of. So, I mean, I would throw out a recommendation if you want like a really good comedy that is incredibly offensive and incredibly politically incorrect. There's a movie that came out a few months ago called Donnie's Bar Mitzvah.
Donnie's Bar Mitzvah.
And it's like
why
a
does
bar
that
mitzvah.
sound familiar?
It's like set in the 90s, and it is, Donnie's Bar Mitzvah. Check it out. It's and there's another one that's really good too, an animated horror film called To Your Last Death. To Your Last Death. Check it out.
Wow.
You
Hold
have
on.
the-
Hold on. Sorry. 1 second. Thank you so much, Darius Munchausen, for the $1.49 super sticker, the sticker of popcorn. So thank you so very much for that. And thank you, VidFile1, for subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much.
There is one thing, and I'm probably going to try to find it after, but you were saying, they asked you a question on one of the interviews with it was British Bunch, like what your perfect movie opening was, and you were like, oh God, not these questions again. But you brought up Richard Linklater's Slacker, and
Yes.
can you sell it to me? Because I actually changed my avatar just because I wanted to be a little bit of a dick about it, but I wanted to. Why was it so good for you when it came to a perfect opening?
I'll tell you why. There's one thing that an opening to a movie needs to do, and it needs to do that progressively throughout the movie. Usually, movies fall apart in the second act. And I want to know what is going to happen next. I want to know what is going to happen next. And what's great about that movie Slacker is, one, it sort of breaks traditional narrative. It's not a traditional 3-act structure. It's a series of short stories set in a day in Austin from the beginning of the day to the end of the day at night. And it follows different people who cross paths. So every story leads into the next story. So you're not getting a full story. It's not like, so each of these stories plays out over maybe 5 minutes, some 10 minutes. And you see like a story, there's a story of a guy and his 2 friends. They take this tent and they're going to throw it over into the river. And he's telling this story about how his girlfriend cheated on him in this tent. And it's an incredible story, and there's so many layers to it, and you only get like 5 minutes of these people's lives, but you learn so much about them. Each of these groups of characters in Slacker and not Slackers with Adam Sandler. This is a movie called Slacker, directed by Richard Linklater, who has won an Oscar. He did that movie Boy's Life, which I thought was remarkable. And I've been a big Linklater fan for years. I mean, he'll do bigger studio movies, but he's also a guy who his real heart is in like making tiny, small indie movies. He's still based in Austin, Texas. So Slacker is it's a series of stories, and you don't get like a perfectly wrapped up everything, right? Like it's but the story of the guys with the tent, and he's got the tent, he's telling this humiliating story about and he's trying to absolve himself of the demons and the pain from, the girlfriend who cheated on him in this tent, and he's going to throw it in the river. And that's just one of the stories. So, yes, actually probably not appropriate to show at a there's a scene where a bunch of kids have purple dildos on their heads.
Oh,
really?
I think they're just like these fun. But it's also like very real. Donnie's Bar Mitzvah is the movie. All these movies are video on demand, right?
okay.
But that's one I would highly recommend. And then a lot of documentaries. I'm a big documentary fan. There's one that I think. Oh wait, we lost him.
Yeah, we lost him. He should be back. But
He'll be back.
has a question for you. Favorite musical, Chris? Just curious.
Oh wow,
Yankee
favorite musical.
Doodle Dandy for me.
Oh wow. Okay, there you go. Yankee Doodle. I would say probably Wicked. I know that sounds
Really?
Wicked.
Oh,
Yeah. And let me tell you why.
okay.
Because what's great about Wicked is it is a direct prequel to The Wizard of Oz, the movie Wizard of Oz. Direct prequel. And the events in Wicked, which is the story of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, right?
Right.
You find out her motivation for becoming wicked. You find out the relationship she has with Glinda the Good Witch. And I remember, this is what a nerd I am. I remember because I had people telling me you should go see Wicked because I do enjoy every once in a while a Broadway play. But that movie, I'm watching the play and I'm like, oh my God, if the stories of the prequels were like this and it made you think differently about Star Wars, the Star Wars prequels would have been brilliant. As it is, I do think the Star Wars prequels have aged better. I think the Star Wars sequels will age poorly and are going to be looked on as a failure. And I'm surprised that there are not like conversations about what I almost think it would have been it would have been okay if maybe the Star Wars sequels were episode 10, 11, 12, but we never got to see Han, Luke, and Leia reunited, and we will never see that. And that a travesty that happened. And then the new characters, the legacy characters, the new characters I actually really like, were completely misused. Right. Finn, probably the worst and the most interesting character because we've seen someone's journey to be a Jedi before. We've never seen someone turning from this sort of brainwashed duty into being a hero. And sometimes being a hero means running away from a fight, it was, I thought that his character, it was just really upsetting because I thought I had figured out what his character arc was going to be. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to be the most important character because he's the one that's going to get all the stormtroopers to just take their masks off, reveal their true selves,
right,
and sort of break the bonds of their slavery, right? And just like and I thought it was like it would have been amazing, and we're deprived of that moment. They turned him into this side character, and then diminishing him on the posters was bullshit.
They did. You know how Hollywood's the failure, and you get succeeding upwards with failure upwards. What they did to Finn was give him accomplishment downwards. They decreased him. They not only turned him from a potential Jedi that has turned from the stormtroopers as well as the First Order into a janitor that screams Rey through 3 motion pictures.
Ridiculous. A janitor. I mean, maybe he worked in sanitation, was his first job before they threw a blaster in his hand.
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
But that would have been brilliant, though. That would have been brilliant. Can you imagine if Finn was one of the guys that was cleaning up a trash compactor, but that was an old trash compactor from the Death Star, and they found like the one scene from the New Hope from the trash compactor, and be like, it would have been a perfect link.
Dude, that would actually require.
Oh, it blew up. Never mind.
Yeah, that would actually require forethought. Well, a deranged lunatic.
I'm not all there today. Sorry.
No, I mean on their part to put those things together. Yeah, we don't want to think that far ahead. Deranged lunatic. Hello, says the Reina Creole. Chris, I used to really enjoy you on Attack of the Show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, and speaking of Attack of the Show, apparently. Okay, great. I just cannot believe I lost it that quickly. Man, I'm really dragging.
Oh, there you go.
Get used to it. Apparently, you have a documentary that you're trying to get funded on Kickstarter called Attack of the Docks. So
well, it was funded. We actually did a second Kickstarter that was successful. The documentary is coming out. Well, the first public screening of the documentary is going to be in April next year, in conjunction with the 20th anniversary of G4 TV. And it's the history of the network, kind of the rise and fall, what really happened behind the scenes and why the network was canceled. It goes into detail. And it's also, I'm interviewing all these people who worked behind the scenes, the head writer, the directors, people who worked on set, people who were on camera, and telling, also in addition, my own story of being involved with Attack of the Show and kind of what really happened behind the scenes, including a lot of things that are just going to shock and surprise people, like the fact that I got away with swearing on camera, among other things, like just like a lot of little like really weird stuff. I don't want to say too much right now, but
yeah.
The plan is for it to be available so that when you go to San Diego Comic-Con a year from now, I'll be at a booth somewhere and you can buy the Blu-ray or you can buy it on video on demand. That's the plan. So we have thank you, Mark D with a C. You're a backer. Thank you.
Wow.
That's awesome. Hopefully you got your patch. We did crew jackets, and we're doing a special event panel about a month where we're going to reveal stuff only to backers. Actually, if you're a backer of the doc, we have an event that's going to be, I can't say too much about it right now, but it's only for backers. And then we're going to do a panel at LA Comic-Con where we're going to reveal the trailer and stuff like that. So
did you just twist everyone's arm? Did you just twist everyone's arm saying be a backer if you want to get on that panel?
Well, no, I mean,
you literally just went, you got to do it.
It's too late to be a backer, but that's okay. Like I mean, you'll be able to buy the movie in less than a year. So, you know, I appreciate the support. That's one of the movies that I'm working on, and along with this Film Threat doc, and then a couple other movies I can't talk about right now.
Please tell me you are going to write a script for Fast and the Furious 11 meets Transformers, because that was a genius idea that they were all riding in Transformers. That would have been an amazing crossover.
Well, a buddy of mine named Matt Kyle actually had that as an idea. Why don't they just combine the two franchises into one? I mean, first of all, I think it's brilliant. I think that's a brilliant idea. And I've heard other people suggest it. It's not original, but like, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, you know, look at what's happened in comics. They do franchise mashups. I mean, they did, you know, Star Trek: The Next Generation meets the X-Men, which is probably one of the dumbest, if you think about it, and apparently it's a novelization, and I'm told it's very good. I don't know. I don't think I would waste my time.
There's something even a lot weirder. Like if we're coming from the Fortnite the franchise in general, their own island has not only had crossovers of Alien, Predator, G.I. Joe, Street Fighter, Marvel, and DC all live on the same island. And that is crazy. Everything is there. And that's even Terminator as well.
That's, I think, going to be the next thing that because Hollywood's bankrupt of ideas now, and you can only make so many sequels and reboots. Now it's going to be franchise mashup. I mean, and the fact that we're talking about it is probably means it's going to happen. And by that, I mean, like in comic books, they've had like, you know, Spider-Man fight, you know, they've had crossovers from DC to Marvel, right? So at some point that's going to happen. I mean, if you look at the new Space Jam, it's just like, hey, guess what? Here's all the franchises and they're all in one movie. Like Ready Player One kind of made that happen. And now, you know, that's what it's going to be like. But if you scroll through and you click on the next button, you'll get a taste. The next, you'll see like, this is like a sampling of like every day we post about 3 to 5 reviews. If we're covering a film festival, it can be as many as like 10 or 20 reviews. They're all small indie movies that I guarantee most of you never heard of, but we review Black Widow too and other stuff. Yeah. And okay, all right, I may live stream on the Film Threat channel. This will be the last plug I'll get in, but if you go to Film Threat, because we are monetized, so I can do live streaming. I just think like the amount of effort to succeed on YouTube is so monumental to me. The people that I admire, who I watch all the time, I'm like, I don't have that kind of like.
You do.
You do, dude. I mean, you
Fat
really,
Steven
you really,
offers services.
You really do.
It's a commitment.
You do, and it's like you just have the same energy, like kind of like Robert Meyer Burnett does. You know,
he lives about a mile from me, by the way.
Ask him how my slave one's doing.
We go to the same bars, but I have not seen him like since before the lockdown. The first lockdown. I don't know what lockdown are we up to now. I don't know. We're coming on a new one. Who knows?
I just want me read this really quick. But Zach7 sends $5 Canadian. Thank you so much for that super chat and for being a channel member. Says Chris, if you live stream, we will come. Rants, deep dives, whatever. Love DV Tuesday.
That was this.
But that's true. Honestly, it's crazy when word gets out about someone we like who's streaming. It's just like everyone goes. and people will send people to you. It's like it's crazy.
See, Chris, the one thing about you, and you've done it throughout the hour and 14 minutes now, is like the way you talk and deliver not only an opinion but an objectified point of view. Your passion comes out not only in your delivery but in your words, and you're always smiling when you're talking about it. Even if it's something that you don't agree with, you're still showing the same respect to it, and that's what people want to see. They want to see an objectified opinion that doesn't make you feel bad, but enough to make them understand that it's okay not to always like the things you're trying to promote, and that's what we're trying to fight against now.
Here's my problem with doing a live stream is that I can have a conversation with someone, right? Like I can have a conversation with you, Lorena, like, you know, the folks at Midnight's Edge, Tom and Andre, but like, if I'm in a room by myself talking to myself, I feel really uncomfortable because I'm around me all the time. I get sick of me. So I love being around other people and having passionate conversations. I do need to run, but I want to end with something like this. The where I started to see things and really notice things was, I did not like The Force Awakens at all. I was not a fan of it. I saw The Last Jedi and I thought, you know, to me, it has what is probably the best moment in the sequels, which is the throne room scene, the Snoke throne room scene, and the sort of turning their backs. And that's a great moment, right? And I was like, okay, Last Jedi flawed, but it's like, I think it's setting up something genius. I think I can connect the dots. I was so optimistic because I am, at the end of the day, I'm like Luke Skywalker. I'm filled with optimism and positivity. And I want to, like, I'm an all ships rise person. I want to see everyone succeed and be a cheerleader. And I was like, man, Last Jedi is setting up the greatest ending to the 9 films. And it was terrible. And I felt betrayed. I don't care about Star Wars anymore. So I don't know, like it sort of left me gutted. I mean, there have been highlights. Mandalorian is okay. I mean, it's like, oh, that's why didn't they start like that? You know, they could have, they could have, I don't know. They could have gone back to that sort of old school Star Wars and brought in all sorts of new concepts and ideas. But what bothered me, here's what bothered me. I was talking to friends who didn't like The Last Jedi, and that's like, so what? To me, it's like, so what? You didn't like it, and they would give me reasons. I'm like, oh, that's a really good reason. You know, my initial reaction is I really enjoyed it, and then I kept hearing these reasons people didn't like it. It's like, well, Luke Skywalker changed, and he changed off camera. We didn't see his change. It's like, well, but I like the idea that he's like went off, but then finds his optimism, right? He has to like he goes through a journey, right? But then what bothered me was people who didn't like The Last Jedi were being attacked, and I'm like, why are they being attacked? Like, they just have a different opinion than I have. So what? So I put together, and it's on the Film Threat YouTube channel. You can see it. I did 2 panels. I did it twice. The Last Jedi debate. I did it at 2018 San Diego Comic-Con. And in fact, I invited Jeremy from The Quartering to be on that panel. And I didn't realize that he felt like people really didn't like him. And I'm like, why do people not like you? Like, I don't agree with everything you say, but I watch you, you know, like, but I have to, it's not a rubber stamp. I like everything just because I watch somebody, you know, that's stupid.
Right.
Then John Schnepp was actually supposed to be on that panel and he passed away.
Oh my God.
He was, in fact, I had the placard of his name. I gave it to his widow or his ex-girlfriend. Anyways, I'm just saying that like what was shocking to me was that there became this divide where people who liked it and didn't like it didn't like each other. And I'm like, that's not what fandom's about. I did the panel again. So it was a packed house at San Diego Comic-Con. I did the panel live and I recorded this and I put it on YouTube. And I did another one at Dragon Con. If you've ever been to Dragon Con, it's probably my favorite.
Dragon Con is off the chain.
It is. I call it Geekapalooza. It's
awesome. It's the only convention I've been to where I've been like in a bar with the Babylon 5 actors, and we all got kicked out because it was too late on a Saturday, and the Georgia Atlanta police had to kick us out because they couldn't serve liquor anymore.
I love that too. Atlanta's a beautiful city. I have a lot of good close friends that live there, and they bring me in as a guest. I'm not going this year, but I hope to go next. Oh yeah! Oh God, that's a great thing. I call it Mr. Tickle Tongue. I call it nerdy gras. It's nerdy gras. That's what DragonCon is. But yeah, it is Geek Burning Man. It's so fun. I love the costumes. Also, people there have a sense of humor. It's not,
It's
and
not
there's
so
also,
serious.
it's not so serious. There's a really great geek community. They also do a lot of science panels, which I really love. The science panels are fascinating. They have different tracks, right? So I did the panel, the last Jedi debate, and I was kind of surprised that there was this fracture in fandom. And I'm like, why do people not like other people because of different opinions? And I don't understand that, because part of like why I love all this stuff is because we all have different opinions about things. And at the end of the day, we're all friends. We all are
conversation.
Exactly. That's what I miss, because it used to be whether you like Trek or Star Wars, whether you had nerd fight argument discussion about who was the best captain. At the end of the day, we all like Star Trek. So
it was the art of discussion. It was the form of conversation. It was the ability to exchange words, ideas, and look at thy neighbor as an ally, whether or not you agreed or not. And that is something that should be not only cherished, but it should be actually kept growing. And it's not. It's like, if the more discussion is being stopped, the more ability to respect and look at your neighbor as not just a friend, but as someone you can turn to when you want to just talk. We're trying to vilify everyone because of their own opinions, their own bias. That's not free choice. That's taking it away.
Well, this is why I despise social media, because in order to succeed in social media, you need to be the most extreme voice, and it needs to have some level of outrage to it. Oh yeah, we do shirts that are kind of based on like old, like movie logos.
I love this.
Like Back to the Future, and that one's, we found the Dune alphabet. So we do like a lot of like, if you go to the apparel section, there's a lot of
how much for the beard?
Oh yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's fun. I had like I'm a huge Batman fan. I have an Instagram. I have an Instagram and a Twitter where I only tweet about Batman. And it's called Bat Chris Gore. So if you look up Bat Chris Gore on Instagram or Bat Chris Gore on Twitter, you'll see I only talk about Batman. That's it. Nothing else. It's just Batman, weird photos, weird art that I share. But I'm
then you must have loved the long Halloween.
Of course.
It was so well done.
I just
oh my God.
What did I get recently? I got so much stuff back here. It's like, part of my Batman collection.
I like this one, rejected filmmaker.
all kind of stuff back here. But
you and Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan need to get on a panel one day.
Well, I do a lot of panels at conventions. I usually go to like 4 or 5 different conventions: LA Comic-Con, WonderCon, San Diego Comic-Con, DragonCon, and then some small ones here and there. Monsterpalooza. I love Monsterpalooza. I don't know if you've ever been. I've
never been. Where's
that? In Burbank. It's, there's regional ones and whatnot, but and then I used to love going to Star Wars Celebration, and I bought tickets before The Rise of Skywalker came out, and they're just now going to have it in May. I don't really care. I'll be there. I'll be at Star Wars Celebration, but my enthusiasm for Star Wars is at a 0.0.
Yeah, it's my enthusiasm for Star Wars really isn't as big. Even, now that I live here, I go to Disney Springs, and there's a store called, the Star Wars Galactic Outpost. I want to say 90% of it is like original trilogy merch, and because
that's what people want.
That's what they want. That's like all they want. And just to see people's faces like gravitate onto that. Nobody's looking at what the Galaxy's Edge stuff is in the window. Nobody freaking cares about that.
Yeah, no one cares.
I've been over the other stuff.
I actually did a video about the 5 things to improve Galaxy's Edge. I wrote an article, and then I did a video on it. You can look at, if you look up Star Wars on the Film Threat website, it's like pages and pages of stuff. But you could find that. I was pretty happy with that video, because I was kind of making fun of some of the travel channels in like sort of a wry way. I'm always look, if I make fun of anything, I make fun of myself. I'm happy to mock myself. If you read more into it, fine. But like, so I was pretty proud of that video, but it seems like every time I try to do something, I don't really understand YouTube all that well. So like, even though I've got like 20,000 subscribers on the Film Threat YouTube channel, I can't get anybody to watch it with any regularity. I think I'm really just not giving them what they want. I think what they want is for me to rant about stuff. And I'm like, that would, I'd have to have
just do one. Just one.
Maybe I'll do one this week.
Yes.
One. Oh, wow. That's a collection. Dang. Sweet. Ah. Yeah.
The vision is actually signed by Ron Rubin, who also did Back to Dr. Bad Vibes from the Cops. I also have the Cops full series collected, and there you go.
It is. It's a strip mall with a dive bar.
Well, the thing is, you can't even drink enough to get like any sort of buzz on.
No.
Like 2 drinks
and a kick.
Yeah, it's a shopping mall. It's a shopping mall for stuff that I don't care about.
Yeah,
so, it's really disheartening. I'm gonna have to run, but
I know.
But it's great. Like I got to spend more time on here than I had planned. But Lorena, it's just always a pleasure. I love when you pop up in my feed, and I love your honesty and your opinions and your look. For anyone to be a friend in my life, they have to be a no BS person, and it's clear that you don't take yourself seriously, but you take what you do seriously. And I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And Stephen, Matt, I'll seek out your stuff too, Stephen. So I appreciate
honestly,
it.
I would love to talk to you one-on-one and maybe even help you out, like getting a live stream set. Like even if you want to shoot the crap on one thing, dude, I am down. It's been like a nerding out a moment, and like you have such passion. I want to grift every moment of it because I'm a grifter supposedly. So I just want to grift all of it.
But folks, please do check out all the links that we have for Chris's Twitter, of course, the Film Threat website, and I'm definitely going to have to drop a link for that the Indie Strikes Back T-shirt because that thing is just awesome. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. We so appreciate that. We got to have you back on again when you
do it.
Else. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone in the chat. You have made the week. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Drive safe.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Tickle Trunks. Let's see. Yes. Oh, I know. I left that up on the screen, but I didn't read it. I'm so sorry. I already suffer from bandwidth anxiety. Ruined my life, Chris. Do it. You don't even need production value. Also, people will line up to help. They sure will. I think he's doing it. Robert Meyer Burnett. I think folks should start telling him, tell your friend Chris to do a live stream.
Uh-huh.
Tell your friend Chris to do a live stream.
And then get him to drive down and check out my Slave 1 hot toy. It's still on Robert's shelf because I know that's in the will for me somewhere. Go. Just pack it up for me while you're down there.
Oh man, that was just so awesome with Chris coming on. Like I said, I meant for him to come on earlier, and I forgot his name of who I talked to, and I want to say maybe about 3 weeks ago. No. It's because I had followed him, and I'm like, I can't find him, and I can't remember what his name is, and then something popped up. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do this now before I forget. So I'm so glad he came on because it's so refreshing to hear independent voices and people who will talk about when entertainment was just fun and it was just engaging and it was just about putting your art out there into the ether and letting people make up their own minds about it. So I'm excited. I got to comb through his Film Threat.
I did have a new one for him since he can't use. I don't know if he can still use DVD Tuesday. What he can do is do NVD Tuesday, like indie.
Oh yeah.
In DVD Tuesday. There you go. Dude, he was amazing. This was great, Lorena. This was. Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, bye, Kaylee D. Good to see you. Good to see you. Have a good one. And this last one here before we wrap up. Rogue Disney. They got rid of the drink limit now, by the way. Meet friends there on the 29th. They had to carry 2 of them back to their hotel. Yeah, they must want you to stay there and spend money. I'm probably not going to see Galaxy's Edge until the fall, actually. Then I'll probably walk through there with my
really
Florida
fast with the
resident
camera
discount.
off.
It's just like I'm going through there because it's the stop on the way to like Toy Story Land. But yeah, I have to evaluate Galaxy's Edge for myself. It's just I have to see the train wreck for myself. And until then, I'm just going to enjoy going to the Galactic Outpost at Disney Springs because that seems to be where it's happening with all the stuff to buy and the memorabilia. And the only place I've seen Star Wars rhinestone hairpins, which, yeah, I had to get that.
I
had
just want to
get
say
that.
thanks to the chat too, because you guys have been really hyper. I've never seen our comments jump so fast, so quick. Like this is a
Hmm.
great Tuesday. I'm not going to
Yeah.
pay any of you though, but thank you.
I'm hoping they have the APs for sale soon, Rogue
Mhm.
Disney. That's what I'm looking forward to. So hopefully they can do that. But you guys were absolutely, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, you guys in the chat set it on fire. So thank you so much for your support through the chat with, the super chats and just, just being here. Just being here.
Mhm.
I love hanging out with you guys. And, the show is nothing without you guys in the chat. In fact,
Also,
Stephen,
uh,
hunting down
yeah.
people for me.
Oh yeah, yeah, headhunter. I would like to say one quick say, please do not make any Crisco purchases and send them to Lorena's PO box when she sets one up. We're not gonna have another.
Please
I'm not.
no.
Please don't. It's gonna be really
Please
weird for the
no,
mail
because
office.
now I live in the South and people will steal your Crisco. So just
Don't do that to her.
save me not having to run people
Just send
down.
recipes involving Crisco at this point. Just do it that way, because the last thing anyone wants to see is that.
Absolutely. Well, oh God. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. My next live stream this week is going to be, of course, Friday. It's like loading it up. So Friday, Lethal Lightning is going to be our guest on the Lunch Table Show. And Friday evening around 8 p.m., I'm going to be streaming live from Universal Studios Orlando. I'm going to be in Diagon Alley in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Maybe we'll see the Gringotts Bank dragon actually blow fire that night. And of course, topping it off by seeing the water and fireworks spectacular at Universal. It is absolutely off the chain. It's amazing. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. So with that said, everyone, take
wait.
care. Have a good one. Oh,
Sorry, I say one thing. You don't need Galaxy's Edge when you got family. And we're out.
peace.